You know that feeling when a whole new world just whispers your name and you're itching to explore but maybe don't have like a year to dedicate to it?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, buckle up because we're about to drop into a fascinating audio adventure today.
Exactly. Today, our curiosity has led us to the Audible audiobook Enchantra, a spicy fantasy romance. It's book 2 in the Wicked Game series by Kaylee Smith.
Right. And to get the inside scoop, we've been digging through the Amazon product page,
Yeah.
the official description, and those very telling customer reviews.
Mm.
Think of this as your fast pass, sort of, to understanding what this book is all about, the key ingredients that make it tick.
So our mission basically is to distill it all down, help you decide if this is the audio escape you've been looking for.
Exactly.
So maybe set the scene for us. What's the core situation that really kicks off this story?
Okay, so imagine this. Genevieve Grimm gets this. Well, rather unwelcome inheritance.
Mm.
It's a trip to a seriously cursed palace called Enchantra. This happens right after her mother passes away.
Wow. Okay. Heavy start.
Yeah, but this isn't your average gloomy estate. Turns out, Enchantra is actually the stage for a deadly game.
A deadly game.
Yeah, and to navigate it, Genevieve has to play along with a fake romance with this intriguing character named Rowan Silver.
Okay, fake dating in a deadly game. High stakes right from the get-go.
Totally. That definitely throws us right into the deep end.
So for someone thinking about diving in,
Yeah.
what kind of experience are they signing up for, genre-wise, feel-wise?
Well, the label itself gives us a big clue. Spicy fantasy romance.
Okay, spicy, noted.
Definitely. And it clearly has that undercurrent of dark fantasy.
Yeah.
Shadows, secrets, a touch of danger in the air.
Makes sense with the deadly game.
For sure. And the themes that kept popping up when we looked through everything were this intense intrigue around the game, obviously, mixed with that spicy romance we keep mentioning.
Right.
You'll find a heroine who's described as like really feisty, not afraid to stand her ground, and a love interest who operates in those delicious, morally gray areas,
Ah, best kind sometimes.
isn't it? Plus, it seems like we've got some tried and true elements in play,
Mm.
like that fake dating trope we mentioned,
Mm.
that irresistible forbidden desire, and a good layer of family secrets just waiting to be uncovered.
It's interesting how those genres, dark fantasy and spicy romance, often complement each other. The Wicked Games series title itself suggests this isn't the first rodeo with these dangerous competitions.
Okay.
And even though this is book 2 of 2 for Genevieve and Rowan specifically, I did see a reviewer mention the author hinted at a potential third book, maybe with a new game.
Oh, interesting. So maybe the world continues.
Yeah.
But for this couple, it sounds like this is their main arc concluding.
Right. Why do you think this blend, this danger and romance, is so appealing to readers right now? What's the draw?
That's a great question.
Hmm.
Maybe it's that push and pull. The thrill of the high stakes, the life or death stuff, mixed with the emotional investment of a relationship developing under pressure.
Yeah, that tension.
Exactly. And if you're already drawn to authors like, say, Carrie Maniscalco, Carissa Broadbent, or Lauren Roberts, the description specifically name drops them. So you'll likely find a familiar flavor, a similar atmosphere here.
Good comparison point. Okay, let's paint a clearer picture of this world. What can you tell us about the plot beyond the setup and the setting of Enchantra itself?
So the main thread, like we said, is Genevieve arriving at this cursed place, Enchantra, and getting immediately sucked into this deadly game.
Right.
Her survival, it seems, is directly linked to maintaining this pretend relationship with Rowan. That's the core engine, plot-wise.
Okay. And the place itself, Enchantra.
Well, the editorial notes describe it as a twisted labyrinth of marble and thorns.
Ooh, evocative.
Isn't it? Immediately gives you that gothic, perilous vibe. But what's really interesting is a customer review added another layer, mentioning Italy as a backdrop.
Italy, really?
Yeah. That land steeped in history, maybe even a bit macabre with its catacombs and stuff. They specifically mentioned an Italian countryside estate and a giant hedge maze.
Wow, okay, so it grounds the fantasy a bit, maybe. That Italian estate, the maze, definitely amplifies that feeling of being somewhere beautiful but also utterly trapped and in danger.
Exactly. That juxtaposition is quite something beauty masking something sinister. Really underscores that dark fantasy element.
Totally. So who are the key players navigating this dangerous stage? Let's talk characters.
Okay, center stage is Genevieve Grimm. She's driven, first off, by needing answers about her mother's death, and bam, she's suddenly in the thick of this game.
Right, the reluctant participant.
Kind of. She's described initially as maybe reckless lost, but also as someone who faces these insane challenges with real dogged determination and bravery.
Good, you need that.
And the reviews really bring her to life. People call her snarky, goofy, funny, witty, beautiful, and intelligent. And importantly, outspoken, confident, and just unapologetically herself.
I like the sound of her already.
Me too.
Mhm.
And it seems she's comfortable in her own skin, not shy about her curves or her sexuality. Sounds like a character you can really root for amidst all the darkness.
Definitely. And what about Rowan Silver, the other half of this forced romance? What's his deal?
Ah, Rowan. He fits that classic mold, described as arrogant and dangerously handsome.
Of course.
But interestingly, his first reaction is apparently trying to stop Genevieve from even entering Enchantra.
Oh, protecting her maybe? Or
Well,
himself?
Good question. He's trapped in this game too, along with his family. They're all under some kind of curse, it seems.
Okay, so there's a whole family dynamic tangled up in this.
Exactly. But the reviews hint there are layers beneath that, cold exterior. He's also seen as protective, smart, sexy, sweet, and even spicy himself.
Protective, sweet, and spicy. Okay.
Yeah. One reviewer even called him a broody shadow daddy.
A what now?
A broody shadow daddy. And they point out those possessive moments with Genevieve, the whole my wife thing, those intense touch her and die vibes.
Ah, okay. That trope. Very popular.
Very. Apparently he even nicknames her Trouble.
He calls her Trouble. Okay, that tells you a lot about their dynamic right there.
Doesn't it? It sounds like he goes through a pretty significant shift from being aloof and cold to, well, let's just say things definitely heat up between them.
That arc is always compelling, isn't it? The broody one who secretly cares, who melts. What is it about that archetype, you think?
Maybe it taps into that desire for hidden depths. Someone with intense emotions hidden away, especially when they finally direct them at the heroine. The contrast makes the passion feel earned, maybe.
Yeah, earned. I like that. You mentioned Rowan's family is cursed and trapped with him. Do other characters play a big role?
Absolutely. The reviews frequently mention how much readers liked Rowan's siblings. Their banter gets called out as witty and engaging, suggests a strong family dynamic even with the curse and the deadly games hanging over them.
Adds another layer beyond the main romance.
For sure. And then there's Umbra.
Umbra.
Rowan's shadow fox, familiar, sounds like a total breakout character, consistently described as a beloved sidekick.
Oh, a magical animal companion. People love those.
Who doesn't? Adds a bit of magic and maybe some light relief.
Yeah, those supporting characters really enriches the world, give moments of levity, or maybe even more conflict. Now, you mentioned some familiar elements earlier. What specific tropes are readers pointing out in Enchantra?
Oh, the trope radar is definitely pinging hard on this one.
Yeah.
Reviewers are calling out stuff like found family, but make it murderous.
Huh. Okay, that's a great twist.
Isn't it? Then we have the classic arranged marriage or, well, fake dating scenario that throws Genevieve and Rowan together.
Check.
Masquerades. With the wonderfully specific detail of ball gowns and piranhas.
Wait, piranhas at a ball?
Apparently. That's certainly a memorable image, right?
Definitely sticks with you.
Okay, what else? The touch her and die possessiveness we talked about is a big one. The contrasting shadows versus sunshine dynamic between Genevieve and Rowan.
Uh-huh.
The cute animal companions, thanks to Umbra, the shadow fox. The quintessential enemies to lovers arc seems to be there.
Of course.
Forced proximity, obviously, they're trapped together. A marriage of convenience angle is mentioned. The constant threat of being hunted.
Intense.
Yeah. And supernatural elements hinted at with demon witch mentions, probably tied to the curse or other characters. And finally, that underlying sense of a fated connection between them.
Wow. It's like a greatest hits collection of romantasy tropes.
Pretty much.
Right.
It's almost like a checklist.
Yeah.
Why do you think readers gravitate towards these familiar structures so much?
Perhaps it's the comfort of the familiar. You kind of know what beats to expect, but the excitement comes from seeing how this author puts their unique spin on it.
Good point. Like a framework.
Exactly. It provides expectations that can then be met, or even better, subverted or enhanced in surprising ways. Now, given that spicy label, let's talk romance specifics. What are readers saying about that aspect?
Well, they are definitely confirming the spicy promise. Customers are using phrases like delightful spice, raving about red-hot scenes.
Okay, so it delivers on the sheet.
Seems so. The chemistry between Genevieve and Rowan is consistently highlighted as being just perfect. One reviewer called it a rich tapestry of spice, which I thought was quite poetic.
That is rather evocative.
Others keep it simpler, just sweet, alongside a very enthusiastic Sue Hot. It really sounds like the romance isn't just a side plot, it's a core, part of the whole experience.
It sounds like a significant draw for the audience, for sure. Is there any sense of how this connection develops? The pacing of the romance itself?
Yeah, the feedback suggests a really satisfying slow burn.
Yeah, the slow burn, always popular.
Definitely. But one that eventually erupts into a wildfire. We're talking romance described as sexy, sultry, and absolutely intoxicating.
Sounds pretty intense.
It does. But what's interesting is that readers seem to appreciate that this passion, this intensity, doesn't completely overshadow the dark fantasy elements. They feel there's a good balance.
That balance is crucial, isn't it? In this genre especially. Keep the plot moving while the romance heats up.
Exactly. It needs both to work.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly. More technical aspects of the audiobook. What can we glean about the author's writing style and the pacing from the reviews?
The general consensus on the writing style is very positive. Readers use words like captivating, they praise the author's wit, and especially the snappy banter between characters.
Banter, always good.
Always a plus. The narration itself, the way it's read, is also mentioned as having a natural pace. However, when it comes to the story's pacing, there are a couple of different viewpoints.
Oh, how so?
Some readers felt it moved quicker than the first book, Phantasma, which they liked. Others noted that it started a little slower for them.
Okay, so a bit mixed on the start, maybe.
Potentially. But it's worth pointing out, at least one reviewer said they absolutely inhaled the book, read it super quickly, which suggests that once the story gets going, it really, really pulls you in.
Yeah, that happens. Pacing can be so subjective, can it? What one person finds slow, another finds perfectly paced for buildup.
Exactly. What seems more consistent is the positive feedback on the writing quality itself.
Right.
That seems to be a definite strong point.
Good to know. And since we're specifically talking about the audiobook, what details do we have about the Audible version? The narrator, reception there.
Right, good question. For the Audible specifics, the narrator is Laura Horowitz, and she seems to be a real asset to the experience. Reviewers specifically said she did a great job with all the different voices.
Always important in fantasy.
Totally. And maintained a fairly natural pace throughout her reading. The total listening time is pretty substantial, 11 hours and 57 minutes.
So a good meaty listen.
Definitely get your credits worth there. It came out on Audible on April 8th, 2025, so it's quite new as we record this.
Fresh off the digital press.
Right. It also has that Whisper Sync for Voice feature, which is handy if you like switching between listening and reading the ebook version.
Oh yeah, that's useful. How's it doing on Audible in terms of rankings, ratings?
It's clearly resonating. Its bestseller rank hit hashtag 65 in all of Audible books and originals, which is impressive.
Wow, yeah.
And even better in its specific categories. Hashtag 1 in erotic science fiction and fantasy, hashtag 3 in erotic romance, and hashtag 4 in romantic erotica for books.
Okay, so it found its audience and they love it.
Absolutely. Plus, it's holding a strong average customer rating, 4.6 out of 5 stars, with over 5,000 ratings already.
4.6 with 5,000 plus ratings. Those numbers definitely speak for themselves. That's really solid.
It really is. And Audible's promoting it too, mentioning a free trial and a limited time offer for Premium Plus, which suggests they have confidence in this title, driving subscriptions.
Makes sense. Strong indicators of positive reception within the Audible community for sure. So, zooming out again, what's the overall feeling, the general vibe from customers who've listened to or read Enchantra?
The general vibe is overwhelmingly enthusiastic. You see these big, bold phrases. Pure art, amazing installment, perfect second book popping up a lot.
High praise indeed.
Definitely. Readers are calling it an enchanting read and a wicked and captivating story. Many admit they are completely obsessed.
Obsessed is always a good sign for a series.
Isn't it? Specific positive comments highlight how thrilling and entertaining it is. One person called the narrative spellbinding. Many seemed really satisfied with the conclusion for this couple and just raved about loving the characters, especially Genevieve and Rowan.
Sounds like the character work really landed.
It seems so. The originality, or maybe the creative mix of elements, gets mentioned too. And one reviewer found it surprisingly heartfelt for a gothic romance novel, really appreciating that blend of intrigue, tension, and genuine emotion.
Heartfelt gothic romance. Interesting combination. So it really hit the mark for its intended audience, sounds like. Were there any recurring criticisms? Any areas where readers felt it maybe fell a little short?
Well, while the vast majority of feedback is just glowing, a couple of minor points did surface. One reviewer felt the ending wrapped up maybe a little rushed for them.
Okay. Sometimes hard to stick the landing perfectly.
True. And as we mentioned before, a few people experienced moments where the pacing felt a bit uneven, particularly maybe that slower start for some. But honestly, these seem like relatively minor quibbles compared to the widespread praise.
Right. Seems like the positives far outweigh any negatives based on the reviews.
Definitely the impression we got.
So, having explored the product page, the description, the chorus of reader reviews,
Yeah.
what would you say are the key things our listeners should take away about Enchantra, the big picture?
Okay, so key takeaways. If you're looking for that specific blend of dark fantasy and steamy, spicy romance, Enchantra really seems to deliver the goods.
Hmm.
The overwhelmingly positive reception points to compelling characters you can get invested in, especially Genevieve and Rowan and their undeniable chemistry.
The chemistry seems key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thrilling backdrop of deadly games within this atmospheric cursed palace Enchantra provides that high-stakes intrigue. And despite a few minor notes on pacing from some, the engaging writing style, the banter, it all appears to keep listeners totally hooked.
Sounds like a strong package for the right reader.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a very strong contender in the romantasy genre, particularly if you enjoy a good dose of spice mixed in with your supernatural adventures and dangerous games.
So, for you listening right now, the question really becomes, with this mix of perilous games, cursed families, and passionate, maybe even fated romance, does Enchantress sound like the kind of audio escape you might want to dive into next?
Yeah, does it pique your interest? And if it does, you might want to consider grabbing the first book, Phantasma maybe, to get the full backstory and see how this world was set up.
Good point. Starting from the beginning is usually best.
Or, if these themes, the dangerous love, the fantastical settings, the spice, if that really resonates with you, maybe to explore the works of those authors we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Kara Maniscalco, Carissa Broadbent, Lauren Roberts. You might just discover your next favorite author that way.
Absolutely. And finally, thinking about that core idea in Enchantra, the danger of trusting your heart in such a treacherous place, it does prompt a broader thought, doesn't it? What other stories explore that really intense intersection of love and peril? And what is it about those narratives where love and danger are just so tightly linked that continues to captivate us as readers and listeners? It's definitely something to ponder, maybe, long after the story ends.